Say hello to your new personal assistant.
It was very important to us that the interaction between the user and our application is very natural.
Fighting the childhood obesity epidemic.
Kids who thought the exercise was more difficult ate more total calories across that exercise day than kids who thought the exercise was easier.
Targeting cancer with protons.
Proton therapy releases radiation in a way that X-rays can't.
Funding for this program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Sue and Edgar Wackenheim III, and contributions to this station.
Hi, thanks for watching SciTech Now. I'm Mike Zeman. From cell phones to espresso machines, smart devices are ubiquitous in modern-day living. Tech companies are racing to offer the slickest, most efficient digital assistants. Richard Waters of the Financial Times has a look at what's available.
Robots. Helpful or threatening? Cute or scary? Whether we like it or not, these machines are becoming more commonplace and fundamental to the way we live our lives.
Let's chat.
The very main feature of this robot is the fact that it is entirely controlled by the human voice.
Are you married? Not yet.
Talking to computers has been a dream of technologists and storytellers for decades,
Sign here.
even if it can sometimes seem a bit scary.
Encounters with disembodied intelligences are no longer confined to science fiction. Intelligent agents, digital assistants, chatbots. There's a growing array of these smart companions that are eager to become our guides to the digital world.
Google is one of the powerful tech companies who believe the new technology will be as significant as the first phase of the web.
It's the wild, wild west. Everyone's trying to figure out what is the right modality. People really got very familiar with accessing information on the web and using browser to kind of do things that they never could do before that. So I see that kind of a step function change in how people will actually react and interact with computing. But I also see a lot of experimentation needed to get to the next steps here.
I'm here in this studio at Toy Talk, and this is where the voices of chatbots are recorded. Humans record thousands of lines of script, and when you talk to an artificial intelligence in your smartphone or some physical object, the machine will try to anticipate and understand what your interests are and then feed lines back to you that it thinks are in context. So I have the first physical embodiment of that here. This Barbie doll actually has a chatbot implanted inside. Let's chat.
Whoops, can you say that again? Do you want to play a game or talk some more?
I really like clothes.
Definitely. What's the point if it's not fun? Why did the belt go to jail?
I don't know, why did the belt go to jail?
Because he held up a pair of pants. Want to hear another one? Uh-oh, I can't find a Wi-Fi network.
It's not quite HAL, but chatbots like Barbie could be a forerunner of how we will all one day be talking to computers. These programs are sometimes given a veneer of human personality and are designed to engage you in conversation, usually by feeding back canned responses. They fit easily into today's widely used messaging systems, where they can chat back and forth with humans in text form.
I think one of the interesting qualities of this trend is that it actually largely started in the East and has come here to the West. WeChat in China in particular is the portal to the internet in mainland China, and the number of bots and businesses that exist in texting there has been an enormous number for now half a decade. Just this year in 2016, we're going to see that happen on the major platforms here in the States.
Bots often come with personalities already baked in. They can appear in mobile chat apps, or like these, they can be designed as characters in video games, creating a new form of interactive storytelling. Facebook and Microsoft have both put bots at the center of their plans recently, seeing the beginning of an entirely new way of living with computers.
All the big tech companies are racing to experiment with different interfaces. There's the Amazon Echo, a black cylinder that sits on your kitchen table and orders groceries. Apple Siri, a question and answer system that was developed for smartphones. Google Now, a predictive assistant that tries to anticipate what you'll want to do next and give you the information before you even ask. Facebook M, a text messaging system which relies on people at the moment, but Facebook wants to replace with artificial intelligence. And Microsoft Cortana, a personal assistant that is trying to make the move from the PC to the mobile world. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow?
The bar for success for all these experiments is set much higher than for many of today's technologies.
To give you an example, if you search for something and you got an article, you got a pointer to a web page that's not as relevant, it's one thing. But let's say the assistant said, hey, it's time to leave for your flight, and guess what? Your flight's delayed, no problem. And then it turns out it's not delayed and you miss the flight. That's the problem.
The range of experimentation suggests the field is still wide open, with upstarts eager to challenge the big tech players. Voice-controlled digital assistants like Hound represent the first generation of these intelligent assistants. Chief Executive Kaivan Mohadja has been working on this dream for 10 years.
When we designed Hound, it was very important to us that the interaction between the user and our application is very natural. So when you talk to Hound, we want the response to be natural, as if a human being is responding to your question. We wanted the responses to be grammatically correct, not too long, not too short, and delightful.
Okay, Hound. Show me coffee shops that are within a half a mile of where I am and that are open now.
Here are several coffee shops within 0.5 miles.
I'd like one that has the best coffee and where I can sit outside with free Wi-Fi.
You didn't say okay, Hound, so I didn't.
Companies like Hound believe voice control will become even more important with the much predicted Internet of Things.
Make me an espresso.
When many everyday objects become smart and connected.
No problem. Please place your cup under the spout and say ready.
Ready.
You can ask your espresso machine to give you a double shot espresso. While it's making the double shot espresso, you can say, how's the weather today? Who won the game last night? So one device can enable its own functionality, but it can also enable multiple other domains that the creator of the device can think is useful for the end user.
Communicating through voice or text messaging is only part of what makes these new digital assistants and agents intelligent. Behind the scenes, companies like Google are applying new types of machine learning and analyzing data about you to come up with the best answers.
Despite the considerable hype, the intelligent agents are not quite ready for prime time. Their language abilities are not perfect. They don't always know exactly what we want, but they're making rapid progress. And this leaves plenty of questions. What are we giving up in return for the convenience of talking to the machines? They will be making assumptions about what we should know and when. They'll be in the background, listening, perhaps watching what we're doing. They will assume more control over our lives, but the payoff in terms of a more useful and practical coexistence with the computers could be significant.
A unique program at Penn State is combining research in human development, family studies, and nutritional sciences to help fight childhood obesity. WPSU intern Matthew Gary takes a look at how the research is leading to simple advice for parents.
1 in 3 American children are overweight or obese, and that puts them at risk for serious illnesses like diabetes and heart disease. Because obesity can stem from a variety of factors, fellows in Penn State's Childhood Obesity Prevention Training Program, or COPT, are researching it one bite at a time.
We are a group of graduate students, specifically PhD students from both departments, so Human Development and Family Studies and Nutritional Sciences. And we all study completely different aspects of childhood obesity, but they all come together.
Obesity is a complex issue. That's why the COPT is working with real kids to examine diet and behavior.
Our kids are all from 4 different local daycares, and we actually go into the daycares and ask the teachers of each classroom who has the best participatory kids and what kids are excited about doing something new.
One piece of the puzzle that the COPT researchers are looking into is the relationship between portion size and calorie density.
Calorie density is the number of calories per bite of food. Higher calorically dense foods like peanut butter or butter have a lot of calories per bite, where low calorie dense foods such as fruits and vegetables have fewer calories per bite.
To study the calorie density, COPT researchers fed kids 6 different meals. The meals were split into 2 different categories: meals with higher calorie food options and meals with lower calorie food options. Each category had 3 different portion sizes.
What we found was that increasing the portion size of the meal and increasing the caloric density of the meal both increased calorie intake. And these effects combined to increase calorie intake by 80%.
So if parents have a kid who eats a lot, they can cut his or her calorie intake by making some simple substitutions, like grilled chicken instead of chicken nuggets. But the research doesn't stop there. Penn State scientists are also interested in how the brain impacts what we eat.
Are you ready for a special helmet? Yes. Alrighty.
In this study, kids lay down for an MRI. They are shown pictures of food and researchers examine how the brain reacts.
We found that children, when they viewed foods that were in large portion sizes, that a brain region involved in self-control was more responsive to the large portion foods compared to the small portions of food. And when children were viewing foods based on high energy density compared to low energy density, a brain region that's involved in reward was more responsive. This might suggest that children find these foods, these healthier foods like fruits and vegetables, more rewarding because they tend to be more satiating, or they tend to provide more fullness.
Understanding how the brain sees food is important in finding results that can curb obesity, but just as important is the relationship between body and mind. That's why another area studied by the fellowship is energy balance, the ratio of calories consumed to calories burned through physical activity. In this study, children are asked to rate how difficult they found their exercise. Exercise can help kids burn calories, but if they think it's too hard, it can have an adverse effect.
Kids who thought the exercise was more difficult ate more total calories across that exercise day than kids who thought the exercise was easier. Kids who think exercise is difficult might be more likely to compensate for it later in the day at their subsequent meals by eating more calories.
The key takeaway here is to make physical activity fun.
They can play games with their friends, they can go out for a sports team, they can take a dance class. Letting kids try a variety of exercises will probably help them find what they find the most fun.
Even though the program focuses on the kids, fellows in it hope that the research it yields can translate into lessons that can stick with children far into adulthood.
I think it's important for any person to be able to follow their passion and do what brings them joy. If a girl is interested in fashion or if she's interested in physics, that should be valued because she's valuable. Ever since I was little, everybody in my family could tell I was going to be a scientist. I mean, my friends called me professor. And it was really more a question of what kind of science I might do. What I do now is protein engineering. I ended up getting a PhD in molecular biology and biochemistry. But when I met my husband, he was a radiologist. and he wanted to become a scientist as well. So we ended up working together in a laboratory that did imaging work. And so now the engineering that I do of proteins is usually to make things imageable. So my job is to try to build light-up machines, basically, that report on biochemical events in breast cancer. We run our lab with a lot of undergraduates in the laboratory. Right now we have 6. So a lot of my job is mentoring all day long. I do my own research, but I also assist them.
Working with Kathy is awesome. She is so helpful and encourages me to first try to solve my problems on my own, and then is always there for me when I need it. She's really good at adapting her mentoring style to each individual student.
It's really exciting to me because it's never boring. There's always something new to learn, and it's such a great environment, and it's pretty dynamic, and there's a ton of interaction. Research is interesting because you have waves of, like, you're really busy with a lot of experiments, and then, you know, the next week maybe you're doing your data analysis and thinking about like what to do next and planning.
It's a little bit like you're trying to take a big epic journey, and you need to recruit other people to go along. The goal is long. Everybody has a contribution to make. The heroic part is the courage it comes to take the level of failure, to face that failure every day and put yourself out there and propose something. Without that kind of courage, you won't be curing any diseases.
We have some cell issues we're trying to solve. So basically I'm just taking care of the cells right now. We like to split them all, which means like take some out of the flask so that they can grow throughout the weekend and they don't die from being too overcrowded.
Kind of like a pet, they need to be like fed every day and split every day, so there are not too many cells in the flask.
There's a whole lot of work that needs to be done in just understanding what is the breast cancer? What is it? We don't really always have a clear handle on what makes it even a cancer. I mean, you know, you think that maybe if you have breast cancer, you have one thing, but everybody's breast cancer is different. And the contribution that this type of work makes to that is to try to identify new opportunities for therapeutic targets. That's usually what this type of work is good for.
So these are the breast cancer cells, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then the ones that are out here, are they the ones that are the patient cells, the normal cells?
The stromal cells.
Yeah.
Yes. We have this 2-photon microscope, which is like a big thing, what I use a lot for a lot of my experiments. And I'm able to look at cells that have different proteins tagged with different fluorescent proteins.
That's a model of how the woman's cells in her tumor that are her normal cells interact with her cancer cells, and her cancer cells interact with the normal cells, and actually they change each other to form a tumor environment. So there's more than one kind of cell in a tumor, and those tumors, they speak to the cells around them so much that they actually recruit them for help. And so that's kind of the nature of her project right now, is to chase that down. How are the cells communicating with each other? We may not be able to say for sure that the cells are dead, but we will be able to say that they're changed.
I really enjoy the experiments we've done with changing metabolism with breast cancer cells, so changing their glucose or their other nutrients, and also then applying chemotherapy drugs to those cells and seeing how your body's environment is going to affect how those drugs work.
It's almost like being able to go to another world. So it's thrilling to see what your eyes can't normally see, to be able to test it, to be able to detect it, to see that it's there. So I think it brings a sense of wonder to people. Without these kinds of positive relationships, you know, the work environment, it would be hard to get up every morning and face that kind of, you know, it's like, okay, we're going to cure breast cancer. That is a big, big goal. On a day-to-day basis, most researchers find that they can't hold that big goal up in front of them every day, or they can't face it. Once in a while you pick your head up and you look.
You have to reflect back and think, okay, what is my science today going to help with in the future?
It's inspiring, and it's definitely pushes me forward every day to be able to tell like my family members or my friends that I'm doing something in cancer research is so cool, and it's really worth it, and people care.
Kathy is a STEM hero because she is pioneer in the field. She's really good at adapting. She's one of the smartest people that I know. She is so fun to work with, and she has taught me so much, not just about science, but how to be a better person in general.
Healthcare professionals at the University of Florida Health Cancer Center in Orlando are using a very precise way to treat brain and spinal cancer. It's called proton therapy. Here's a look at how it works.
Central Florida has a new tool to combat cancer. In April 2016, the UF Health Cancer Center at Orlando Health opened a facility that offers proton therapy.
Proton therapy uses charged particles, protons, instead of X-rays, which is what we've used for conventional radiation. Proton therapy releases radiation more precisely in a way that X-rays can't. X-rays will go into the body and then release radiation in the tumor, but also release radiation past the tumor. Protons, on the other hand, go into the body, but when they reach the tumor, they release all of their dose, and then there's no dose beyond the tumor. So this allows us to treat cancers, especially in very sensitive locations, with less risk to the patient. In a way, it's like a controlled explosion right inside of the tumor.
The Proton Therapy Center at Orlando Health is the first of its kind in Central Florida, and one of only 23 in the country.
Proton therapy is a better type of treatment for a variety of cancers. Some of them are going to be cancers that are located in very critical areas like the brain, the eye, the spinal cord, or other very sensitive parts of the body. Basically, proton therapy delivers less radiation to the body to treat the tumor the same amount. And often that magnitude is 50%, sometimes it's 60–70% less total radiation to the body to achieve the same effect inside the tumor.
Angie Oswald is battling a rare and aggressive brain tumor called a hemangioparasitoma. After 9 years and 2 surgeries, the cancer has returned again. This time, proton therapy will keep her off the operating table and should limit long-term side effects.
They're able to treat a fairly large area, and actually 2 areas at one time, which is pretty amazing. And so the idea is that this cancer won't grow back in these areas, and ideally I could be cancer-free indefinitely.
Angela has an extremely rare tumor, and she's being treated with an exceptionally complex treatment plan that targets some of the lining of the brain, but also some of the major veins that are inside the brain. And what we end up creating is an extremely complex shape that reflects the anatomy of the brain and the distribution of the tumor.
It's 10 times better than the surgeries just because I'm able to live my life, I'm able to work, I'm able to be home every day. With the surgeries, it was definitely life-changing. I had to leave work, I had to take time off, I had to have family come take care of me. I was thrilled when I found out I did not have to have another surgery. I think that's really the best part, is just being able to continue with everyday life and with minimal impact to my family and my daily life.
If we had used conventional radiation, the amount of brain that would have been treated would have been extremely large. And that would have had effects for the rest of her life. It would have increased the risk of stroke, increased the risk of vision loss, it would have increased the risk also of neurocognitive change. So using protons, we're able to limit the dose extremely well to just the areas we need to treat. As a person that treats pediatric cancer and brain tumors, I want to give my patients the best. And I finally can tell them that we are giving them something that's as good or better than any treatment available in the world. Proton treatment lets us treat these patients in a way that's effective for tumors and has the lowest risk of causing them side effects, not just in the next few weeks or months, but for the rest of their lives.
You can watch full episodes of SciTech Now on demand or online at wpsu.org/digital. While you're there, check out some of our other great digital features, including Metronome, local artists playing original music right here in Central Pennsylvania. I'm Mike Zeman. Thanks for watching.
Funding for this program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Sue and Edgar Wackenheim III, and contributions to this station.